I still remember the sound of her laugh echoing down the hall that night, like nothing was wrong, like everything was perfect. But it was all fake. All of it. That night was supposed to be the happiest of my life. My engagement party. A celebration of love, promises, and the future. Instead, it was the beginning of the cruelest joke life ever played on me. The house was full, friends, family, champagne flowing, lights glowing warm like the perfect Instagram post. My fiancée, Brittany, was wearing this red silk dress that clung to her like it was made for sin. Everyone kept telling me how lucky I was, how perfect we looked together. Yeah. Perfect. That word has haunted me ever since. I was running on adrenaline, making rounds, thanking guests, when I realized Brittany was gone. Not just slipped away for a moment, she had vanished. No one had seen her for at least 30 minutes. I searched the backyard, the kitchen, even the goddamn laundry room. Then I noticed the garage door was cracked open. You know that feeling when your stomach turns ice cold, and your brain tries to scream at you not to take one more step? I had that, but I stepped forward anyway. I had to. Inside, it smelled like sweat and car oil. There was a dull thump, low, rhythmic. My heart started matching the beat. Then I saw shadows moving behind the back seat of my dad's old truck. My brother Ryan's jeans were on the floor, and Brittany's heels. I stood there, frozen in the doorway, watching the woman I had asked to be my wife, the woman who just an hour ago kissed me in front of my grandmother, grinding on my brother in the back of that truck like a damn movie scene. I didn't even shout. I didn't say a word. I just turned around and walked out like a ghost. The party kept going. Music, laughter, clinking glasses. None of it felt real. People were asking where Brittany went. I smiled like a puppet and said she felt sick. Ryan showed up 20 minutes later with his shirt buttoned wrong and a smirk that told me he didn't give a damn. Not one. I didn't confront her that night. I didn't explode. I didn't throw plates or shout accusations. I went back into the house, cut the cake, thanked everyone for coming, and smiled for photos with a man who just ruined my life and a woman who was still glowing from his touch. But something inside me snapped. Not in a loud, dramatic way. No, it was quieter than that. Like a glass cracking under pressure, you don't hear it until it shatters. That night, I laid in bed beside Brittany, pretending to sleep while she snuggled up to me like she hadn't just destroyed everything. Her hair still smelled like his cologne. I didn't sleep a second. And the worst part? My parents knew. They knew something happened, maybe not all the details, but they knew. And still, the next morning, they asked me to understand. Ryan's been going through a hard time, my mom said. Don't throw everything away over one mistake, my dad added, sipping his coffee like it wasn't all ash in my mouth. That was the moment I realized I was alone. I packed a bag, walked out the front door, and never looked back. I didn't answer calls. I didn't reply to texts. I deleted every photo, every message. I moved into a tiny apartment with bare walls and silence that screamed louder than any argument. 5 years. That's how long it took for them to reach out again. 5 years of nothing, no birthdays, no apologies, no invitations. Then, out of the blue, a call from my mother, voice trembling. Ryan's dead, she said. We need you. And I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because karma doesn't forget. Ever. After the call about Ryan's death, I didn't cry. I didn't feel sad. I didn't feel much of anything. Maybe that's what 5 years of silence, betrayal, and distance does to you. It doesn't make you cold. It just burns everything warm to the ground. I hung up on my mother without a word. That night, I poured a glass of whiskey, sat in the kitchen of my small, painfully quiet apartment, and stared at the wall for hours. My phone buzzed nonstop. Cousins, aunts, even Brittany. I didn't answer a single one. Yeah, she had the nerve to call. After all these years. It's funny. When you walk away from people, they expect you to come back eventually. Like time alone is enough for forgiveness to grow like weeds through cracked pavement. But what they don't get is that betrayal plants something else in you. Something darker. Something that feeds on silence. The next morning, I finally opened my laptop and looked up Ryan's obituary. A tragic motorcycle accident. Instant death. He was 29. They used a photo of him at my engagement party. The same night he banged my fiancée. The irony nearly choked me. And then it started, the messages from Brittany. First, just one. I'm sorry about Ryan. I know we haven't spoken, but I really need to talk to you. I stared at that message for a full 10 minutes, trying to decide whether to block her or burn the world down. Instead, I did something worse. I answered, "What the hell do you want?" She replied almost instantly, "There's so much I never got to explain." Explain. That word again. Like there was something reasonable about what she did. Like there could ever be logic behind shattering someone's trust that violently. But against every bit of judgment I had left, I told her to come by. I wanted to see the lies on her face up close. She showed up 2 hours later. Same seductive walk, same calculated smile. Just dressed in something a little more modest now. Morning chic, I guess. "Hi," she said, as if we were old friends who had just lost touch. I didn't say anything, just let her talk. And God, did she talk? She told me she wasn't herself back then, that Ryan manipulated her. That she was confused and didn't know how to end things between us the right way. Every sentence she spewed made my skin crawl, like watching a snake try to shed its skin and still be a butterfly. I let her go on until her voice cracked. Then I stood up, leaned in close, and said, "Tell me the truth. All of it. Just once. No more stories. Just be the monster you are." And that's when the mask slipped. She rolled her eyes, scoffed, and said, "Fine. You want the truth? Your brother was better. In bed, in life, in everything. I don't regret a damn thing. You were too soft. Too boring. And yeah, I lied. I lied a lot. But at least I felt something with him." Silence. Cold, sharp silence. I swear the walls leaned in to listen. She looked at me like she expected me to break. Or scream. Or hit something. But I just smiled. That was the moment I realized how far gone I really was. Her words couldn't hurt me anymore. I had already buried the man she betrayed. "You should go," I said. She laughed. "You're still pathetic." I nodded. "Maybe. But I'm not the one who has to live with being you." She walked out like she won. But she didn't. I sat back down, finished my drink, and let the weight of that moment settle in my bones. Ryan was dead. Brittany was a liar to the end. And the people I once called family had all vanished when I needed them most. Now they wanted me back. For what? Funeral photos? This story was just getting started. And something told me karma wasn't done yet. The day of Ryan's funeral was gray, like the sky itself knew the kind of man being buried. I hadn't planned on going. I told myself a dozen times that showing up would be a mistake. But something in me needed to see their faces, needed to see how deep the lies still ran. I parked 2 blocks away from the church, didn't want anyone to see me arrive. My palms were sweating, my jaw clenched so tight it hurt. As I walked toward the church, I saw my mother outside, hugging people like a grieving saint. My father stood stiff beside her, looking as though someone had carved his emotions out with a blunt knife. They hadn't seen me in 5 years. And yet, the moment I stepped into view, my mom gasped and dropped the bouquet in her hand like she was seeing a ghost. "Jason?" she whispered, her voice cracking. I didn't respond, just looked at her like she was someone else's mother. And honestly, she might as well have been. My dad stepped forward. "Son, we didn't think you'd come." "Yeah, you made that pretty clear 5 years ago," I said flat. No anger, just fact. They exchanged glances, those rehearsed, guilty parent glances that always come too late. "We're glad you're here," my mom said quickly, brushing a tear from her cheek like it was all for show. "Ryan, he would have wanted you." I cut her off. Don't pretend he ever gave a damn." That hit. Her face dropped, and my father cleared his throat like he wanted to speak but didn't know how. We stood there, strangers in a family photo gone wrong. Then my Uncle Pete came out of the church and said, "Service is starting. Come inside." I followed them in, more out of curiosity than grief. The room was filled with people in black, whispering, dabbing their eyes. Most of them glanced at me, then looked away. A few cousins nodded. No one hugged me. No one even said my name. I sat in the back row. The priest spoke in vague cliches. Ryan was full of life, a loyal son. Gone too soon. Every word felt like acid on my skin. A loyal son? He fed my wife. On my engagement day. If that's loyalty, I must be from a different planet. After the service, I stayed in the shadows, waiting, watching. That's when I saw her, Brittany, wearing black, naturally, but with heels too high for mourning and lipstick too red for a widow. She stood by my mother, holding her hand like she still belonged, still manipulating, still slithering. I couldn't take it anymore. I stepped forward. Why is she here? I asked loudly in front of everyone. My mom turned pale. Jason, not now. No now. Right now. Why is the woman who cheated on me with my brother being treated like family? People started to turn. Whispers spread like wildfire. She's not family, I said. She's the reason I disappeared. She's the reason I buried everything that used to matter. And you all let her in like she's some grieving saint? This is sick. My dad tried to shush me, but I wasn't finished. You knew. Don't lie, you knew what they did. And you chose him. You chose the golden boy over the truth. My mom started crying. He was our son, Jason. So was I. I snapped. But I guess one of us was easier to forgive. No one said a word. Not one. Even Brittany had the sense to look embarrassed, though I knew it was fake. She always was good at looking the part. I left before they could say anything else. Stormed out. Slammed the door so hard it echoed down the street. I didn't go to the burial. I didn't look back. But I knew then something wasn't right. The way they looked at me. The way they feared the truth coming out. There were more lies buried in that family than just Brittany and Ryan's betrayal. And I was going to dig them up, one by one, that I thought I'd seen the worst of it. Walking in on my fiancé and my brother, being cast out by my own parents, watching the woman who ruined my life comfort my mother at his funeral like a damn daughter-in-law. But grief has a way of peeling back layers. And sometimes the rot goes deeper than you ever imagined. A week after the funeral, I got a message from someone I never expected. Ryan's old roommate from college, Kyle Bennett. We weren't close, just a familiar face from past holidays. His message was short. We need to talk. It's about Ryan. It's important. At first, I ignored it. I was tired of digging up ghosts, but curiosity ate at me, so I told him to meet me at a bar near my place. He showed up late, looking like he hadn't slept in days, nervous, twitchy, eyes darting around like someone was following him. I didn't even have time to say hello before he dropped the first bomb. Ryan was in trouble, man. Real trouble. Before he died. I leaned back, arms crossed. You'll have to be more specific. I stopped caring about his drama 5 years ago. Kyle ran a hand through his greasy hair. I didn't come here for sympathy. I came because you're the only one who doesn't know the truth. And maybe you're the only one who should. I said nothing, just waited. Your brother was involved with some nasty people, he continued. Money laundering, gambling debts, a girl he shouldn't have been messing with. The motorcycle crash? It wasn't just an accident. I laughed, cold and humorless. You're saying he was murdered? I'm saying. Kyle leaned in, lowering his voice. It might not have been karma. It might have been payback. My heart thumped once. Hard. Why are you telling me this? Kyle hesitated. Because you're the only one who didn't lie for him. You cut everyone off. You didn't protect him. You didn't play along. The rest of them? Your parents? Brittany? They all knew something. Maybe not everything, but enough to cover his tracks. I stared at him. What girl? His mouth twisted. Someone named Lacey. Worked at a bar near the old college town. Ryan was obsessed. She disappeared last year. No cops, no press. Just gone. Word is, Ryan had something to do with it. I sat still, processing. Rage boiled up again. Not just at Ryan, but at my entire family. They painted him as some tragic hero. But he was a monster. A charming, handsome devil who ruined lives and smiled through it all. And they protected him. Why come forward now? I asked. Kyle finished his drink in one gulp. Because I think someone's still cleaning up his mess. And if you're digging, you could be next. I didn't sleep that night. My mind spun like a storm. I started digging. I found Lacey's name in old bar reviews, then a missing persons forum. No resolution. Her mother posted once, asking if anyone had seen her after she left with a man named Ryan from Chicago. The post was dated 6 months before his death. My hands shook reading it. So my brother wasn't just a cheater. He might have been a criminal. Worse. And my parents? The people who told me to forgive, who begged me to show compassion. They knew. Maybe not about Lacey, but about everything else. The gambling, the debts, the secrets. They didn't just choose him over me. They enabled him, shielded him, let him rot everything he touched while pretending he was gold. I stared at my phone, Brittany's name still in the recent call list. Maybe she knew more than she ever let on. Maybe this went deeper than just a cheap betrayal in a garage. I was going to find out. And this time, I wasn't walking away. I didn't call Brittany. I showed up, unannounced, uninvited, just like the pain she dropped into my life without warning. Her apartment was in one of those shiny new buildings downtown. Glass everywhere, fake modern furniture, and not a trace of personality. Figures. Perfect mask, just like her. She opened the door in a silk robe and fake surprise smeared across her face. Jason? Wow. Didn't expect you. No, I said, stepping inside without asking. But you owe me answers. And this time, don't lie. She didn't protest. Just closed the door slowly behind me and crossed her arms. What's this about? I turned to her. Ryan wasn't who you said he was. Her face flickered. Not much, but enough. You always knew how to pick your words, I said. How to twist the knife. But here's the thing, Britt. I talked to Kyle. He told me everything. About the gambling, the debts, the missing girl. Lacey. That got her. Her jaw clenched. Her eyes went still. Don't play dumb, I snapped. You were with him. You lived in that dirt. So tell me the truth. What the hell happened to her? She sat down on her spotless white couch, like the weight of it finally reached her spine. For the first time in years, she didn't have a performance ready. I didn't know at first, she said quietly. Ryan, he was charming, wild. He made me feel alive in ways you didn't. That's the truth. He was dangerous and I liked it, at least until I realized how deep he was in. I folded my arms, staring her down. He brought me to that bar once, she continued. Lacey worked there. She was sweet, young, too young for someone like him. I told him to back off, but you know Ryan, when he wanted something, he took it. I felt sick just listening. He started seeing her behind my back, Brittany said. Used her, got her caught up in his mess. Then one night she disappeared. Ryan told me she ran off, but I found blood on his shirt that night. My stomach turned. You didn't tell anyone? I asked, stunned. She laughed bitterly. Tell who? Your parents? They already knew what he was. Your mom would have helped bury the body if it meant saving her golden son. You're disgusting, I whispered. So are they, she shot back. They let it all slide. The money, the lies, the way he treated me. You think I was the only one he messed with? He cheated on me too, Jason. All the time. You were just the first casualty. I was the last. I shook my head, stepping back, trying to breathe through the heat crawling up my neck. I didn't know what I came here looking for. Closure, revenge, maybe just the full story. But what I got felt like a second betrayal all over again. And the crash? I asked. What really happened? She looked up at me slowly. I don't know for sure, she said. But the night he died, he got a call. He was frantic. Said he had to clean up something before it caught up to him. I begged him not to go. He took the bike anyway. Last thing he said was, if anything happens, make sure no one talks. I stared at her, every inch of me buzzing with rage and disbelief. You still protected him, I said. Even after everything. She stood, walked up close. You think I had a choice? Your family made sure of that. I was a pawn. We both were. I turned to leave. The difference is I got out. She called after me as I reached the door. You're not done yet, Jason. There's more. Your dad, he paid people off to keep things buried. I paused. Look into the accident. You'll see, she said. Ryan wasn't the only one who deserved what he got. And just like that, the game changed. Again that I drove straight from Brittany's apartment without thinking. The words, your dad paid people off, pounding in my skull like war drums. For 5 years, I thought the betrayal began and ended with my brother and my ex-fiancée. I was wrong. They were just the tip of a rot that ran through my entire bloodline. I didn't go home. I went to the mechanic shop where Ryan's wrecked motorcycle was stored after the crash. It had taken a few calls and a lie about insurance paperwork to get access, but the guy was willing to let me take a look. For $100 and no questions asked. The bike looked like death. Twisted metal. Dried blood still crusted on the handlebar. The front tire was shredded like someone had taken a knife to it. That caught my eye. Looks weird, doesn't it? I asked the mechanic. He shrugged. Whole thing didn't make sense when they brought it in. Said he lost control doing 80, but there were no skid marks. Like he just went off the road. No skid marks. I repeated. Nah, nothing. And the front tire looked like it popped before the crash. That was it. That's what Brittany meant. I pulled out my phone and started digging. Public police reports. The crash log. Then deeper insurance records, the payout from the life policy. Turns out, my father was listed as a beneficiary on a separate policy Ryan had taken out 6 months prior. A large one. $500,000. And that policy, it had a clause. Double payout in case of accidental death. $500,000 turned into $1 million. And just like that, my father had motive. I went to their house that evening. Drove slow, calm. It was like I was wearing someone else's skin. The old house looked the same but colder now. Fake flowers on the porch. No lights in the living room, but I knew they were home. I rang the bell and waited. My father opened the door. His face shifted from surprise to suspicion in seconds. Jason, he said, this a good time? Oh, it's the perfect time, I replied, stepping inside without waiting for an invite. My mother was in the kitchen. She turned, eyes already watering. We haven't heard from you since the funeral. Are you okay? I ignored her and went straight to the point. You helped cover up Ryan's mess. All of it. You knew about the gambling. You knew about Lacey. My father's mouth tightened. Watch your tone. No, I snapped. You don't get to pull that card anymore. Not after what I found. He didn't flinch. Just stood there like granite. What exactly did you find? Insurance documents. $1 million payout. To you. You want to explain that? My mother gasped. My father stayed silent. I also saw the wreck, I added. The tire didn't blow after the crash. It blew before. You want to tell me what the hell that means? He sat down slowly, like he was preparing to deliver a lecture instead of a confession. Ryan was spiraling, he said finally. Owed money to people I couldn't protect him from anymore. He was going to drag this whole family down. Your mother and we did what we had to. I stared at him, disgust flooding me like acid. So you killed your son? No, he said, cool and sharp. I made a problem disappear. My mother buried her face in her hands, sobbing. You let him destroy my life, I said. And then you cleaned him up like he was trash. And you sleep at night. He looked at me, dead in the eyes. He made his choices. So did you. I turned to leave. You don't get to walk away from this, Jason, he said behind me. You're part of this family, whether you like it or not. I looked back once, just once. No, I buried that name with your son, and I walked out, into the dark, free, but burning. You ever feel like your last name is a curse? Like every letter of it drips with secrets and shame? That's how Turner started to feel to me. Not just a name, but a chain around my neck. My father made sure of that. My mother reinforced it with her silence. Ryan sealed it with blood. I drove straight to the lake after I left their house. Not sure why. Maybe I needed the water. Something calm. Something that didn't lie. The wind off the surface was sharp, slicing through the heat of my skin. I parked the car, got out and walked to the edge. For a while, I just stood there, letting everything crash into me. My childhood, my parents, Brittany, Ryan. I thought about that night again, my engagement party, the garage, her moans, my brother's voice, the sound that ended everything I believed in. Then I thought about the insurance policy, $1 million for a dead son, and I thought about the way my dad had said it. I made a problem disappear. It hit me then, maybe for the first time, that I was never meant to win. Not in that house. Not with those people. I wasn't born into a family, I was born into a crime scene. And I needed to escape it. Fully. Permanently. That night, I went home and opened a folder I hadn't touched in years. Birth certificate, college diplomas, old licenses. I grabbed what I needed. Then I did something that felt more sacred than any damn funeral they ever held. I filled out a legal name change request. Jason Elijah Turner was about to die. Just like his brother. I chose a new name, Jason Wyatt Hale. A clean cut. A fresh wound. A new beginning. Next, I drafted the final message I'd ever send my parents. You built a house on lies and corpses. You told me family was forever, but you meant control. I'm not your son anymore. I don't carry your name. I don't carry your guilt. You made your choice, and now I've made mine. Don't ever contact me again. I won't answer. I sent it, blocked their numbers, deleted every photo, every old voicemail, every birthday email from my mother trying to fake love in pixels. Then I turned to the last thing tying me to that past. Brittany. I didn't want revenge. I didn't want closure. I wanted to erase her. So I sent her one sentence. You and Ryan deserve each other. Wherever he is, I hope it's warm. Then I blocked her too. I spent the next week moving into a new apartment. Smaller, but brighter. No ghosts in the walls. No blood-soaked memories in the kitchen. I repainted the whole place myself. Put up blank canvases, empty picture frames. Space for a life that hadn't happened yet. You'd think cutting ties would feel violent, dramatic, but it didn't. It felt like taking off a jacket that never fit. Freedom doesn't always scream. Sometimes it just exhales. And for the first time in 5 years, I slept through the night. Not because I forgave. Not because I healed. But because I finally chose me. 3 months passed. 3 months without Brittany, without my parents, without the Turner name. 3 months of peace that felt like oxygen after years of choking. I was rebuilding slowly. My new name, Jason Wyatt Hale, was starting to feel like skin I'd grown into. The shadows were still there. Sure, but they didn't suffocate me anymore. I had a job at a local auto shop. Nothing glamorous, but honest. I was fixing things again, engines, tires, the little details. It was easier than fixing people. More rewarding, too. Machines didn't lie. Then, one Friday morning, my phone rang. The number was unfamiliar, local. I almost ignored it. Almost. I answered with a cautious, "Hello." The voice on the other end was thin, shaken. "Is this Jason Hale?" "Yes." "Who's this?" "It's Jennifer, Lacey's mom." I stood up straight. The name hit me like a punch to the ribs. "I heard you were asking about her a while back. About my daughter. I didn't know who you were at the time, but I just got a call. From a detective." "Go on," I said, heart pounding. "They found something. Near an abandoned cabin in Indiana. Some bones. Clothes. A bracelet I gave her." My mouth went dry. "Lacey? They're running DNA tests, but they said it's almost certain." I closed my eyes, the image of her face, only ever seen through old photos, suddenly feeling so real. A girl who got caught in Ryan's orbit and never escaped. "They also found something else," Jennifer added, voice shaking now. "A journal. Water damaged, but her handwriting mentions Ryan, mentions someone else." "Who?" "A man named David Turner." Silence. "My father. They think he was helping Ryan keep her there," she said. "Feeding him money, telling him to handle it quietly." I sat down. Everything inside me turned to fire. "They're opening a case," she said. "The detective said this could turn into something big. Maybe federal. They wanted to talk to anyone with a connection." My voice was low. "I'll talk." I hung up and sat still for 10 full minutes. Rage and vindication collided inside me like lightning in a bottle. My father hadn't just protected Ryan. He had helped him, enabled a disappearance, possibly a murder. And now, karma had knocked, not just softly but with a battering ram. The next week was a whirlwind. I gave a statement, provided everything I knew. The insurance policy, the tire sabotage, Brittany's confession, Kyle's warning. I left nothing out. 2 weeks later, I saw it on the news. Chicago businessman David Turner under investigation in cold case murder tied to son's death. My mother was nowhere to be found. My guess? She went into hiding or simply collapsed under the weight of the truth. My father, once the self-made pillar of our family, was now being dragged into courtrooms in handcuffs. No amount of tailored suits could protect him now. Brittany tried to call me again, probably to beg, cry, lie, whatever performance she had ready. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. "I didn't know he would go that far, Jason. I swear. I never meant for anyone to die. I didn't know Lacey was really gone until years later. Please, I'm sorry. Delete. No forgiveness. Not from me. Not anymore." I stood in my new apartment that night, windows open, city lights spilling in, and realized it was done. The people who destroyed me were finally being destroyed, by their own hands, their own secrets, their own karma. I didn't need to fight anymore. I had survived the worst of them, and I had become someone they could never touch again.